Alright, so today I'm going to replace the winch cable on this Brute Force here. And replace it with an AmSteel plow rope, just an 8-foot lead. But before I do that, I'm going to do some work on this bracket. You can see it's had a rough time. But if your winch cable looks like this and it's because of plowing, I don't have much length left on this because I've broken it so many times, then you're going to want to watch the rest of this video. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and try to fix this bracket up a little bit. Alright, so you can see I have the winch out, and you can see that the mounting plate itself is bent. And I'm going to try to just bend this back, but in my experience, once this metal has been bent, it's just going to bend again. So I may have to get a piece of flat steel and reinforce it, but for now and for this purpose, I'm just going to go ahead and bend it back. I'm going to take this plow off and then just try to beat it flat. So I'm going to give that a shot. But while I have this out, I want to show you real quick. Alright, so let's take a quick look at this here. You can see that the cable goes through the hole, and it's actually doubled back into itself. So what I think I'm going to need to do is actually pull that through on this side so that I can actually pull it out through. So I'm going to go ahead and work away at that. I'm going to take an awl and try to get that pulled back. A lot of this is mud and so forth too. I'll get that all cleaned out. Alright, I think it's coming loose here. Alright, so you see how it's doubled back into itself. Now I should be able to pull that right out. And when we get the winch back on, we'll have a good spot to put the rope in. Alright, now I'm going to work on the bracket. I'm going to go hit the vise and I'll be right back. Okay, I don't know if I made it better or worse, but I've straightened it out a little bit. It's still a little bit crooked, I can tell, but I'm going to go ahead and mount it. The other thing I'm going to do, because all of these brackets appear to have bent as well, is I'm just going to take a little bit of garden hose that I've sliced down the center, and I'll just put it on each of the pieces of tubing where these go, and that'll help take up a little bit of the slack from these being bent. So I'm going to go ahead and put this all back together, and then we'll mount the plow. Okay, so it's a little bit crooked, but it's better than it was, and it's definitely tight now. And all I did really was, well, I hit it with the vise and banged on it with a hammer a few times, but ultimately I'll have to buy a new mounting plate probably. But the other thing I did is I took a piece of garden hose and wrapped it around the tubing everywhere there was a mount. So let's go ahead and get the rope in place and mount the plow. Okay, so I'm using 3/16 inch AmSteel rope, and this is from Custom Splice. I bought it on Amazon for $18. It's an 8-foot length, which is more than sufficient for plowing. It leaves me a little bit of room to, for breakage. Okay, so we need to get the rope fed through here, and what I've done just makes the job a little easier. Is I've taken some electrical tape, and I've gone beyond the end, and you can see that now I'll be able to push that through and actually grab it on the other side if I need to. It's not necessary to get this through and double it back the way the original cable was, because chances are, with the plow rope, you're not going to be extending the rope out all the way, so it's really not necessary. Okay, now you just need to grab that on the back side, and I've got it. Alright, just going to wind it around a little bit here. Okay. And basically I just want to pull that up through a little bit. So you can see I'm pulling the rope and it's right through now. You could double it back if you wanted, but what I'm going to do is just basically wind it in here and let the spool tighten it up. Alright, so what I'm actually going to do is actually mount this rope here. And just only because it's easier to do with the plow out of the machine, I can get to the bolts a little easier. Alright, slide it into place and get it mounted here. Alright, so let's give it a shot here. You can see I've got it hooked up. So the biggest reason these break is because they're over tightened. Basically, you pull it up to the point where it can't pull anymore and it breaks the rope and or the cable. So what you could do is you could put a, you know, like a U-bolt or something on here so that when it hits this, it'll make a noise, be an indication that it's time to stop. I'm not going to do that, but if my wife or my kids were plowing or something like that, I would probably do that and then tell them to pay attention. So hopefully this video has been helpful. It's not necessary to remove your whole winch to do this, but I wanted to try to straighten my bracket out. I definitely tightened it down a little bit. And I also wanted to show you how to get the cable out. So, thanks for watching. Leave questions and comments below. Have fun plowing.